Hey guys, welcome to Talking Strongman. My guest today is a regular guest of the show. We've got Evan Singleton back on, fresh off his performance at World's Strongest Man. Unfortunately, Worlds was going brilliant for you this year. You were looking...
Yeah, I was on track to winning my heat.
even when the injury happened, you were looking really, really good.
Right. Yeah, I got a couple of compliments from the guys like Luke Richardson and I think it was Luke Stoltman said something too when I got backstage, because it was obvious when I popped it, but I went for another clean anyway. So
did you actually did it on the dumbbell event?
Yeah, it was the double dumbbell clean medley followed by the circus dumbbell for reps. I got through all 4 pairs of dumbbells, and then I got to the circus dumbbell. I got my first rep with it, and as soon as I dropped it, I went for the pick, and as soon as I picked it up, it popped, and I dropped it, and I shook it off, and then I went for the clean again, and it popped 2 more times, but it already had momentum making its way up to my shoulder, so I was like, it's already gone. Now. Might as well go for it.
And did you get that rep?
No. Because as soon as I had it set on my shoulder, it was locked in place. The second that I took my hand off of the dumbbell, just shooting pain all through my arm. And kind of, you know how it is once you have the implement up there. If you're mentally thrown off by anything, you're not getting that press.
No. It looked like a strange. I mean, it looked like a fun event. I haven't really. I mean, the 2 dumbbells together is where you'd think maybe that would have caused more issue to the bicep.
Yeah, a lot of people that reached out to me about it said that they thought that I tore it doing stones, and the other half thought I did it during the double dumbbell, but it was actually during the circus. So
did you go on and do the stones after doing the dumbbell as well?
No. Okay. After I got the ultrasound done, after I was done,
sure.
I got popped. I walked off. I watched the last 2 guys. I think it was Bish and Kevin. I watched them go, cheered them on, all of that good stuff. Then went back to the medical tent where they gave me an ultrasound, and they confirmed that my bicep tendon was completely detached. So they pretty much, a decent amount of people were like, you only have one arm. You're not gonna. It's going to be bad if you try. So
I think it's such a hard thing to go through, particularly your first ever. I mean, I know you were the reserve last year, but the reserve is different. It's probably a good learning experience, but your first competition at World's Strongest Man. I mean, how were you feeling going into this? Because from what I'd seen, prepping to you, a little bit of talking to you, beforehand, you just seemed confident. You seemed in a good place, and obviously the competition was flying.
Yeah. I would honestly say like I'm confident in saying right now, like, and you can say whatever you want when it comes to like if, ands, or buts and all that. And I get that. And I totally respect that. And the guys, Adam Bishop and Kevin, who made it to the final in my heat, they earned it. No argument there at all. But I'm completely confident in saying that if this not would have happened, I would have won my heat and I would have went to the final. I'm confident in saying that. Yeah. So it was a little heartbreaking, not going to lie. I needed a little bit of time after that because that really sucked. But yeah, it was going really well for me, and the events in the final were good for me. Yeah. Once I got a look at the Rain Hercules hold, I was really interested in trying that because it looked, everybody said it was heavier. And if Mark Felix isn't getting over a minute, then that's saying something, because that's nuts. Yeah, but next year.
Well, it's as hard as it is to take. There's always next year, and that's the kind of that's got to be the philosophy. I sit here being a man that's experienced a number of injuries at World's Strongest Man, and some people let it beat them. They do. They have an injury and then they walk away. But I know that's not your attitude. I know.
No, I was in the gym the day after surgery.
The day after.
Day after.
Awesome. So what kind of stuff are you doing just trying to work around the bicep? Just in case, I mean, we always get guys messaging they've torn something, and if they see that we've done it, often they can take inspiration from that and learn some tips. So just tell us, tell the guys watching what kind of exercises you're doing, how you're working around it.
Yeah, I'm working really, really close with my coaches, Adam and Kim Dirks, and we put together a really good program with a lot of, unfortunately for me, because I fucking hate squats. A lot of safety SSB squats. I'm doing a lot of lunges, kickbacks, step ups, a lot of leg focused stuff. I recently got a deadlift strap, so I'm able to deadlift without using my arms, which is nice because I really like to deadlift, and I was really bummed that I thought I wasn't going to be able to do that for months, but I get to keep doing that. And then a lot of single-sided pressing, tricep work, bicep work, just kind of trying to let the body naturally kind of level itself out with only working with one arm. Obviously, I'm not trying to build up muscle imbalances in my right by any means, but keeping that pressing motion going and keeping the grip going and curls and extensions and all of that good stuff. So a little bit of everything. Plus, I'm keeping my conditioning. I'm trying to keep it relatively high. So I'll be doing my sprints and my footwork with the ladder and all of that good stuff. I like doing stuff like that.
Good. It's one thing I try and kind of, convince people, or when I've been injured, convince myself. After you have your little sulk that we all do, we're all allowed those. I sort of try and give myself a 24-hour period where I feel sorry for myself, and then it's like, right, what can I do? And it sounds like you're doing some brilliant stuff there. I like the ladder for the agility. I like cool.
That keeps my foot speed high, which it helps me with yoke and farmers. So I really like to incorporate that at the end of my workouts. Like after like squat or yoke or something like that, finishing, like you'll do your leg extensions and your curls or any other accessory work that you have, Bulgarian split squats, stuff like that. In my opinion, the foot speed agility drills are really, really good for the end of the workout when your legs are fried, because that way during an event like a loading medley or something like that, when your glutes and your hamstrings are just completely fried, that foot speed's really going to come into play.
Definitely. And just being able to have that conditioning as the competition goes on as well. We all like doing stuff when we're fresh, but it's when you're feeling it in the heat of battle, and it's coming down to those last event or second from last event. That's when that's when I really learned, when some of my first early comps, when when you start to get pretty strong and you think that you're better than you are maybe. And, I'd go to a competition and first 4 events would be great. And then by the last 2 events, I was dying and I couldn't quite replicate what I was capable of. And that was a learning curve. But
well, that just goes to show how Novikov's stamina is so impressive, just because on top of the 4 days of competition, we also didn't have a day in between the qualifiers and the final because the event had to get pushed back due to the hurricane. So that just goes to show how prepared he was to just constantly, like the Energizer Bunny, just keep going and going and going.
He's just a machine, isn't he?
He is.
Yes. But I mean, let's talk about Worlds and the athletes. Like, who impressed you this year? Obviously Novikov.
Yeah. I don't want this to sound bad by any means, but Tom Stoltman did not surprise me, like, at all, because I fully expected him to do as well as he did. I really did.
Yeah.
It's always awesome this is just me personally. It's always awesome to watch Brian Shaw compete in person. Like, to watch how methodical he is with everything and how he thinks out every event and analyzes absolutely every single stipulation of it. It's really awesome to see in person. And yeah, that's really cool. JF Corona was another one that I kind of saw coming, because he's just such a well-rounded strongman, and he knows what he's doing. He's been in it forever. Who else? Not that he really impressed me. I just wanted to take a second to say fuck Luke Richardson. Honestly, it's hard to really pick out any one particular person, because from where I was sitting, a lot of the guys were really, really evenly stacked in the heats. I mean, every year there's always somebody talking about how there's a heat of death where it's like every single person is like super stacked and super strong, and then there's easy heats where one person's just going to kind of breeze through everybody. That's not how it was this year. Pretty much every heat was a fight.
It doesn't work like that as well. I think it's easy to sit back as a fan, and we'll sit back and we're looking like, oh, that group's really stacked, that group's a bit easy, but it never works like that, or how it looks on paper is never how it kind of plays out. You can have one group that looks tremendously hard with like all these amazing guys in, and it will fall apart. Guys get injured, make mistakes, whatever. And then you can have another group that you just think, it might be a bit weaker, and suddenly they're in a dogfight and it's an absolute battle. And the one thing I love about strongman, and I mean, like, I'll have my opinion like anyone does, right? We're all entitled to their opinion. I know sometimes athletes get a bit upset with what people say, but you got to remember, I'm a former athlete. I'm not someone that's just, talking out of my ass. I've had plenty of people tell me I can't do something, and then it's up to me to prove them wrong. But I'm just a person with an opinion. So I'll see who I think's in good form. I'll think, I'll try and come up with a logical prediction of who I think could do well. But there's always going to be someone that surprises you. And it's never a bad thing. Some people think.
Well, that's the reason that the term dark horse was even coined.
Well, if we knew exactly what was going to happen, how boring would sport be?
Very.
If we knew it was like, like there was I put a video out about Brian Shaw beforehand, and it was never anything against Brian. It was trying to make people understand that the whole competition was a real high standard.
Right.
Because there's certain fans out there that are like, oh, Brian's going to win, may as well just give him the trophy. So I did this jokey video that was like, should we just hand Brian the title? And some people kind of commented without watching the video. But if you actually watch the video, you see I'm trying to explain that there's so many good athletes there, and you just cannot predict what can happen in sport and in strongman.
Right.
I think we have.
Yeah, this is an incredibly unpredictable sport. I mean, you can't really. Like, did anybody like? Let's be totally honest here. Did anybody see Novikov taking the whole thing and winning?
No. I mean, I didn't have Novikov winning. I knew he'd be up there and fighting, but he certainly wasn't my pick to win the whole thing. And then boom, surprises everyone.
Yeah.
And I think
that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the sport, and it's honestly for the same reason that I love MMA, because anything can happen. I mean, you look at any kind of mixed martial arts fight, somebody could just get annihilated the entire fight, but one well-timed right hook put the person to sleep. The underdog just won the fight. Yeah. Same thing with strongman. Out of nowhere, somebody can just blitz through their heat, and they can put on an amazing show in the final and end up taking the whole thing, and nobody even had them on the radar. Anything can happen.
Sometimes with strongman, because the variety of events, you can have one guy that on paper you think, right, he's going to be amazing in the final. But then when you really look at it, you look at the events in the heats, and suddenly those events aren't his best events. And there's loads of guys like that. And that's one of the reasons I love strongman so much, is that variety. If it was all about a squat, bench, and a deadlift, I like powerlifting. I don't want to diss powerlifting. I love powerlifting, but I like in strongman that every competition's different. One show can suit one guy, one show can suit someone else. And, right now, looking at all of you that competed this year, there was 25 guys there that were fucking awesome.
Yep.
I think it's probably the first year I've ever seen where every single athlete at World's Strongest Man was a high level. There's always been there's always maybe one or two that you think maybe they don't deserve to be there. And this isn't to say, there's other people that probably weren't at Worlds that maybe deserve to be put into that battle. But the 25 guys that were at Worlds this year, all awesome athletes.
Yep. I agree.
So what's the goal going forward? Obviously rehab, but have you got your sights set on any major comps for next year? Obviously, I know you want to be back at Worlds, but have you got sights on anything else? Have you heard about anything else that might be happening?
As far as my next year's schedule, no. And that's not really have anything that doesn't really have too much to do with the injury. It's more of a because of the virus bullshit going on. I have no idea what dates are for any competitions coming up, Arnold's or Giants Live. World's Ultimate Strongman is a invite competition based qualifier competition based. So I haven't qualified for any of those. So I'm not going to be doing any of those unless I get a wild card invite. I would say with my injury, I'm probably not going to be competing until May or June of next year, back to when I'm fully competition ready and ready to compete. So there's that. And it's a little bit of salt in the wound, because I was supposed to be a part of the Brian Shaw Classic, which I was really, really, really excited for and really looking forward to, especially being a part of the first one, and then really having to pull out just because of that sucked.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I think, did you replaced Rob Kearney, didn't you?
I replaced Rob Kearney. Yep.
So it's, I think Liz was saying it's a doomed position with two of you having that and having to pull up. But that's the people have to understand that's strongman. You know, it's like you go back to MMA. They're hard competitive sports, and you're pushing your body to those limits all the time. There's always that risk that something will happen. But I think the fact that you don't have too much to focus on right now isn't necessarily a bad thing, because then you can take your time to recover. Because say someone said, here's an invite to the Arnolds, say it was in March, you'd try and get yourself ready, wouldn't you?
As much as I could. Yep.
Yeah. And it's just, sometimes it's the best thing to just give yourself that extra time.
Yeah.
Us as athletes, we don't want to hear that. We all want to,
yeah.
You know, we want to be competing in every single show. But I think you proved this year, having that patience and working up. I mean, you look fabulous at Worlds. I mean, you were already qualified. But am I talking out of my ass, or had you already qualified for the final? Or you were certainly the top 2 positions, weren't you?
I was in the top 2 positions, and if I would have gotten the last circus dumbbell press, the one that I went for and missed because I tore my bicep, I believe I would have tied with Misha, and that would have put me at enough points to win the heat.
Yeah, that's devastating, right? And
oh yeah, that's
snatched away.
It's funny because, and this is just me personally, but a lot of the guys backstage, everybody was super supportive, very nice, very, very understanding of how I was feeling in that moment and everything like that. Everybody was awesome. Terry Hollins was talking to me. Robert Oberst was coming up to me. Brian Shaw, like all of the guys were coming up to me and telling me about their bicep injuries and everything's going to be fine and you have nothing to worry about. This is just me personally, but the injury doesn't affect me mentally at all. I'll deal with rehab. I'll deal with working my way back to my full strength. I'm not worried about that at all. It's the fact that I was going to the final and I had to back out. That's the part that bothers me. That's the part that mentally fucks with me. I'm not going to lie.
The pain, like you don't really even acknowledge the pain in the arm or anything like that. It's that inner devastation. It's that, you know, the hours that you've put in training, the sacrifices that you make, the people that you feel you've let down, which is total bullshit, by the way, because you haven't let anyone down. But I totally understand that mental side where you feel you've let people down, and it's all kind of just eating away at you, and it's the worst thing. And I mean,
yeah,
we've all experienced it. It's, you know, I don't want to be, you know, that guy, because, you know, the guys that you spoke to have all given you plenty of advice. You don't need the advice. You're so hungry. You know you're going to come back. But it's more. I'm just sort of trying to relay to the guys listening, you know, the thought process that we go through. It's very, very difficult. And like you say, it's not a physical pain. It's that mental.
No. Yeah. This is where I feel like in situations like this, it's where you really show how mentally tough you are. Going into the gym and lifting up heavy weights is one of the easier things in our sport.
That's the fun bit. That's the fun bit.
Yeah, that's the part that everybody likes to do. Yeah. It's dealing with the setbacks and learning how to compete and all of that good stuff. That's the stuff that it tests you mentally. And those tests are the reason why all of us say the sport isn't for everybody. If it was easy, then everybody would do it.
Sure.
There's a reason there's only 25 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think if you look at the fact there's only been 22 men ever win World's Strongest Man since the start, it shows you how hard, you know, or how incredible an achievement it is to not just, I mean, to win it is amazing, but just to be there is something else. And I think, how old are you now?
28.
28. You're still a baby.
Fresh 28 too.
You know, I'm liking this kind of like smooth face, and you're looking.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, well, I'm just jealous. That's all. I've only got this beard just to. Well, I need to. Just lockdowns kind of meant I've been lazy, and I look like Hagrid right now. But if I get rid of the beard when I'm big, I've just got this fat face, so it just covers that. But yeah, no, you're looking good.
Go back to 2011 deadlift championships, Laurence Shahlaei.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm just kind of enjoying taking life easy at the moment, but I do feel for you, mate, because you were looking fabulous this year. You came in shape.
I felt so confident going into it too, because I felt confident in my heat. I felt confident in the events for the final. Like, I felt good going into it. And yeah, next year.
It'll just make it even more sweet when it happens, you know?
Very true.
That's the way to look at it. It's the setbacks are what make us. So no giving up, my friend. Not that you ever would. I know your mentality.
I'd rather die.
You're 100% after that goal.
Oh yeah. Mark my words. I'll say it to you. I'll say it to your face, and I'll say it to all the viewers listening in. I will win World's Strongest Man one day.
Good man.
I'll win.
Just before you go, very, very quickly, just tell us about, obviously, we forget the injury, your experience at Worlds this year. What did you learn from it? What did you learn that maybe will make you do something different next time around?
Warm-up times, because I got a good feel for it being an alternate last year, but being a competitor, now I'm actually in the middle of the shit, so I understand a little bit more of the pacing of the hurry up and wait scenarios.
Sure.
So I feel like my warm-up times were maybe not as accurate as they should have been. So now I know a little bit more about when I should be resting, my heart rate should be lower, and when I should start stretching out, when I should start warming up, all of that good stuff. So I would take that away from it. Got a lot of good advice from, again, Brian Shaw, Robert Oberst, all those guys. Nick Best. Oh, big shout out to Nick Best. Love Nick Best. He was such an amazing guy to me throughout the entire week, from the moment that we met up for the first time all the way until after the injury happened and everything like that. He was absolutely amazing. Big shout out.
Is that the first time you've met him face-to-face?
That was the first time I met him in person. Yeah.
Wow.
He took to me immediately, very kind words, loads and loads of advice, was just super fun and chill and funny to be around and all of that. Great guy. Love Nick.
Nick is an awesome guy. He's just a good person to have around. Seems just to really, he's like the strongman dad. He's just a cool guy, and to step in last minute like he did and still perform.
That was so cool.
I think people don't realize, like, he was literally, having surgery and stuff like that, not too long ago at all himself, and just steps in last minute and still performs well. He's
was he 52 now?
Yeah, he's in his 50s. It's inspirational, really.
It is. It really is.
I'm so glad you spent time with him, because he's a cool guy. Do you know, I went to Vegas with my brother, and we went to watch a UFC fight, and I'm just like looking around the crowd, and there's Nick Best. we just hooked up afterwards. We didn't know that we were going, but we were watching the UFC over there, and yeah, just like, oh,
that's awesome.
So yeah, he's always cool to hang around with. Nick is.
Yeah, I need to make my way out there. I want to hang out with him.
Hopefully soon we can all get traveling again and get some training in.
Nice.
That's the goal. Nice. That's what I want to be able to do again. Go and see my friends, travel around, and just have some fun.
Hell yeah,
buddy. I'm going to let you go. Take it easy. Be smart with the rehab. And we all look forward to seeing you compete again next year.
Thanks, Lars. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
And just quickly, if anyone wants to find Evan, he's on Instagram. Have you got a Facebook page as well? Not a Facebook,
I do.
Sorry, a YouTube as well.
I don't have any YouTube yet, but I am in the process of working on that right now. So right now, it's just Facebook and Instagram.
All right. We will make sure, guys, you go and follow him on those, and obviously like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We will see you guys next time. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.